Hello from the studio again. Let's play. Let's play today. I really don't think we spend enough time just playing, and it's really an important part of learning the language of art. Let me just share with you some of the thoughts I've been jotting down in my sketchbook. I'm watching a lot of art programmes on telly at the moment and listening to what other people say. It's very, very interesting. So I usually just write a few notes down, and also in response to some of your feedback to me on things that we've been working on in the online art sessions over the last few weeks. With tools and equipment, art tools and equipment, sometimes perhaps we've not been using them for very long and they just feel unfamiliar. Best way to become familiar with anything is to use it. It's like learning a language. It's all very well reading books, listening to somebody else speaking the language, but unless you try and are prepared to make a few mistakes, it can feel very strange. And it will do with art as well, because the tools and equipment you've got are, in a way, all parts of the language of art. So I'm breaking that down into vocabulary, where you've got marks and materials and tools that you use, and grammar, which is the composition, the values, either the colour values or the tonal values, and formats, things like that, which are the grammar of making pictures. So, mark making. Something that we often do with drawing tools, I feel, but not so much with paintbrushes. And I get asked a lot of questions about what paintbrushes to use for different things. And I don't think there's really any definitive answer. One person's preferred brushes will be different from somebody else's. So really, I think it's important, as I said, to spend some time just playing, not to have an end in sight, really, not to have a subject or theme in your mind, but really just like a child, I suppose, just to play with the materials. You watch a child painting, maybe sometimes they've got a subject, that might be a face or a house, but very early on a child will just dip a brush and daub with it, and they're just seeing what happens. So mark making. Might be worth you just writing some ideas down before you start some mark making, or not. Just literally pick up the tools and start playing with them, see what happens. I've written down marks: long, short, straight, curved, jagged, squiggles, smooth, shaky, dots, dashes, varied pressures, hard, medium or light, with your non-dominant hand, from different positions. So from trying making some marks while you're standing, either with your sketchbook on the table or holding it in your hands, from sitting down in various positions, or from kneeling or lying on the floor, with your hand resting on the book or with your hand free. Observe the way your fingers can make marks, your wrist can make marks, movements from your elbow can make marks, larger marks, from your shoulder or even from your upper body. All the marks you make are records of the way your body moves. So let's have a look through some sketchbooks. Here's a page where I was making some marks while I was learning a new skill, a new language, which was Chinese brush painting, which I found quite strange, being used to making things up and suddenly having to learn a very formal language of marks to create versions of somebody else's painting. But on this page you see here I'm learning a particular stroke. The beginning and the end of the stroke was very important, I remember. I as a Westerner, I'm much more used to free play. So that was interesting, a different experience. In this double spread, I was sitting on a rock looking into the water by the sea. And it's really not a picture of the sea and the rocks, but a picture about the feeling and the movement and an exploration of the medium. So here it's about nothing at all. It really is just about the marks which record the movement of my hand and my arm. You know, literally just a warming up page. Again here exploring how the new medium works before using it to make a picture. I wrote down here charcoal rubbing over dishcloth. I actually put a cloth underneath the page to see what happened when I used the charcoal rubbed on a soft surface rather than on the firm surface of the page. I had a cloth underneath and rubbed the charcoal over that just to see what happened. Here's some more explorations of different nibs, different pens with ink. Started off trying to organise it into squares and then it all escaped around the edge. I wrote down what I'd used: a nib, a felt pen, a piece of bamboo. You can see these, I really got into these squiggly marks that the bamboo made. Now each implement you use will have its own voice, which you discover through playing with it. Sometimes I'm exploring, sometimes I'm explaining. Some of these sketchbook pages are from being in class and explaining an element of perspective perhaps to somebody. Oh, here we are. Here's some blind contour drawing where you look at the subject but you don't look at your page. That's quite interesting to do. As your eye follows the contour of the subject, your pencil follows it by making a line, but you don't look at the page at all. You can actually put the book out of the way where you can't see it. Here's some pages where I've just thrown down some paint left over after a painting session. Either thrown down or just brushed, and then added to and allowed to dry, and added to it on another session where there'd been a different colour left over. Hopefully you'll end up with lots of pieces of paper and pages that you can then come back to, and they might give you some prompts, some ideas for developing into either abstract or figurative pieces of work. Okay, let's play then, shall we? Got some oil paint out and various brushes, hog's hair brushes, a little painting knife, a piece of a bamboo skewer. Let's stick here somewhere. Where have you gone? It is. Some cards, bits of plastic card. I've got a little bit of medium out in the dipper here, because I know that yellow, it's a very thick yellow. I need to add some medium to help it to load onto the brush. End of the brush is. It's gorgeous. Just stand up. See if that makes a difference. There we go. Now, I feel like I'm conducting. It's becoming quite musical. I can work from my shoulder, not just with my fingers, my wrist or my elbow, but I can make much grander, more sweeping movements from the shoulder. It's not a waste of paint to do this. If you're worried about it not being a thing, a painting, and I would invite you to save your play pages and see what you can turn them into in the future. With oil paint, of course, you can always paint over. I like to sand back as well. I used to like to let the paint dry thoroughly, you know, a good few months to dry, and then sandpaper it down. Especially after it's built up a few layers, you can get some amazing sort of distressed paint effects. It can be really interesting to paint onto. Sometimes I'll see a landscape in some random marks. Might only need the addition of a wall or a building or a tree. And it gains a different meaning. Okay. It's beginning to, I really like the way this looks. It doesn't matter what it looks like really, it's the experience of doing it. But of course as adults we do tend to judge what we make. It's really hard to say, okay, I'm going to paint like a child, because we're not children anymore. Children just enjoy the whole experience of painting and are really not as concerned, especially before the age of about 7. They're not that bothered about what it looks like. It's only once they start being identified as either being good at drawing, in inverted commas, or less good at drawing, that's when they start making judgments about the way they work, what it looks like. It's a shame really. Once you've been judged able or not able to do something, it can be really limiting to the enjoyment of just doing it. And it might take a while to get into this. It might feel a bit strange to do at first, but give it a chance. Give yourself a chance just to relax. It's so important, isn't it, to feel relaxed and enjoy what you're doing. For your pleasure. This is just some water added to the paint. It's a different feeling the paint has when it's very loose and watery. When it was thick, different brushes. Funny little old brush, fan blender. Drag the paint around with it. It's all starting to mush together. It really doesn't matter, you know, just to prove to you that it doesn't matter. I could completely obliterate all those nice things I did before. It was really starting to look really rather too pretty. Okay, I'm going to ruin it for you now. Oh, what a shame. All those lovely marks. Never mind. It's only a piece of canvas. Actually stop looking at what I'm doing. Just using my non-dominant hand. Just to push the paint around with. Somebody once described painting as pushing coloured paste around with a hairy stick. Pretty much sums it up. Hairy stick, coloured paste. Have fun.